Have you ever looked at your change jar and thought, maybe there's a hidden treasure in here? Well, I've got a wild story for you today that might just make you want to take a second look at that pile of pennies you've got stashed in a drawer somewhere. I'm talking about the 1972 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. And guess what? This tiny little coin, no bigger than a dime, is worth a jaw-dropping $2.5 million in the current market. I know. It sounds crazy, right? But it's true. So, grab your magnifying glass because we're diving deep into why this penny is a holy grail for collectors and what you might have been tossing out all these years without even realizing it. Okay, so let's get into the juicy details. Most pennies you see are stamped with a mint mark, either an S for San Francisco or a D for Denver. But here's where things get interesting. Some 1972 pennies came out of the Philadelphia Mint with no mint mark at all. And trust me, these rare pennies are worth more than a coffee run at Starbucks. Now, you might be thinking, okay, cool, a penny with no mint mark. What's the big deal? It wasn't supposed to happen. See, all the pennies minted in Philadelphia were supposed to have a mint mark, but for some reason, a few pennies slipped through the cracks and they got released without it. Now, collectors absolutely freak out when they find one of these bad boys because it's so rare. It's like finding a needle in a haystack, except the needle is worth $2.50 million. But why are these specific pennies worth so much? Well, it all comes down to rarity and demand. In the world of coin collecting, if something is rare and people want it, the value skyrockets. Imagine you're at a yard sale and someone has a rare signed baseball card and you just happen to find it in a pile of old magazines. You're not going to walk away without asking, hey, what's the price? Because you know it could be worth a small fortune. Same deal with these 1972 pennies. Let's talk about how you can actually find one of these elusive pennies. First off, don't go raiding your local coin jars just yet. You've got to know what you're looking for. Grab a magnifying glass or some good lighting and start inspecting the date on those pennies. The 1972 no mint mark is not too hard to spot, but you do need to be looking carefully. If the 1972 penny looks normal and is in good condition, but there's no mint mark next to the date, you've got yourself a serious contender. Keep in mind, condition plays a big role in the value. A penny in great shape is worth far more than one that's been through the ringer. I remember when I first started coin collecting, I thought I had found the holy grail with a rare penny I found at the bottom of my grandma's couch cushions. But after hours of researching and cleaning it, yes, I may have accidentally damaged it, but we don't talk about that. I realized it was just a regular 1980s penny. Lesson learned. But that didn't stop me from learning more, and eventually, I found a couple of rare coins that made up for my earlier mistakes. You just have to know what to look for. Here's where the excitement builds. If you've got a 1972 penny with no mint mark, and it's in good condition, you're already looking at a few $100s. But if you find one in mint condition, well, you could be sitting on a small fortune, up to $2.5 million, to be exact. Well, that's cool and all, but how do I know if my penny is worth millions? Great question. You'll need to check its condition. Coins are graded on a scale from poor to mint, and this can make a huge difference in the value. A penny in near-perfect condition, no wear, sharp details, and no significant damage could bring in millions. But don't expect to get rich off a well-worn penny from your pocket change. Sorry, folks. The wear and tear from all those years of circulation really lowers its worth. The 1972 no mint mark penny that's worth $2.5 million was found in a personal collection, which shows you that the right person, the right timing, and a little bit of luck can make you a coin millionaire. If you think you've got a rare 1972 penny without a mint mark, it's time to get it appraised. Don't just go posting it on eBay right away. I mean, you could, but you don't want to get scammed, and you want to make sure you're getting the best price. Head to a reputable coin dealer or hire a professional to evaluate your coin. If it's worth the big bucks, they'll help you figure out how to sell it. And remember, the value of a coin can change over time. Some years, the market might be crazy hot for a specific coin, and other times it can cool down. So if you're in no rush, you might want to hang on to it for a while and see how things go at SO. Folks, there you have it. The 1972 no mint mark penny is a game changer for coin collectors. Whether you're a newbie or a seasoned pro, this coin proves that sometimes a small, seemingly insignificant object can hold massive value. So, take a look at your change jars, dig through your pockets, and maybe, just maybe, you'll find a hidden gem worth millions. But don't just take my word for it. Check your coins, keep an eye out for those rare pennies, and keep learning about the world of coin collecting. Trust me, you never know what you might find. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I've got plenty more tips and tricks for you on coins, values, and strategies that could help you build your very own collection. Join me next time for more stories, secrets, and, hopefully, your next big find. Did you know that a single penny, a coin most of us toss aside without a second thought, could be worth more than your entire car, your house, or maybe even your dream vacation? Sounds too good to be true, right? Well, buckle up, because today we're diving into a mind-blowing story about a 1991 penny that could be worth a whopping $2.8 million. Yep, you heard that right. A penny. And no, it's not a joke. I promised so. What makes this penny so special, and why is it causing a stir in the coin world? Keep watching as we break it all down. By the end of this video, you might just find a hidden treasure in your couch cushions. Or, if you're like me, you'll have a newfound obsession with pennies. Trust me, this is a story you won't want to miss. Alright, let's start with the basics. You're probably thinking, a 1991 penny? That's just a regular penny, right? Well, for most of us, yes, it's just another copper-clad disc with Abe Lincoln's face on it. But what if I told you that one single penny, one that's almost 30 years old, could sell for $2.8 million? No joke. Before you go rummaging through your change jar, let's talk about why this penny is worth such an insane amount of money. It all comes down to something called a mint mark. You know, that little letter on the coin that tells you where it was made. Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. But what's really interesting is what happens when a coin doesn't have a mint mark at all. In 1991, most pennies were struck with a D for Denver or a P for Philadelphia. But here's where it gets weird. Some pennies, for reasons no one really understands, were made without any mint mark at all. This tiny oversight, yes, a simple absence of a letter, caused them to become one of the most coveted and rare coins in the world. You're sitting in your local coin shop, and the dealer hands you a penny with no mint mark. He squints, looks at you, and says, you know, this one could be worth millions. You'd probably laugh, right? Well, that's exactly what happened when this penny was discovered in the 90s, and since then, its value has skyrocketed. There are only a few of these mint mark-less pennies known to exist. Some estimates say that only about 10 to 15 of them are floating around in the hands of private collectors or sitting quietly in coin jars across the world. So, if you're lucky enough to find one, you might just be holding onto a tiny, shiny gold mine. And if you do, don't just throw it in your drawer and forget about it. That penny could be worth enough to buy your next car or fund your entire retirement plan. But, just to be clear, don't get too excited yet. The 1991 no-mint mark penny's value isn't all about just any old coin from that year. These coins have to meet certain conditions, like being in near-perfect condition, to fetch that jaw-dropping $2.8 million. So, unless you have a pristine specimen, you might not get quite that much. But hey, any coin worth even a fraction of that is still a pretty nice find, right? Let me tell you a little story. I remember when I first started collecting coins, I thought all coins were the same. You know, pennies are pennies, dimes are dimes, and so on. One day, I found a penny while digging through my junk drawer, and I thought, hey, maybe it's worth something. It was an old 1981 penny, and I was feeling pretty smug thinking I'd struck gold. I Googled it, and well, it was worth about 2 cents. Not exactly a treasure, but hey, at least I got a laugh out of it. That's the thing about coin collecting. Sometimes you think you've hit the jackpot, and other times, you're just left with a couple of pennies and a lesson learned. But that's why I'm telling you this story. Coin collecting is all about being informed and knowing what to look for. Don't just assume every penny in your change jar is worth $1. Do your homework, and who knows? Maybe you'll find a rare gem like this 1991 no-mint mark penny. So, what can we learn from all this? The next time you're digging through your pocket change or going through your old coin collection, keep your eyes peeled. You could be sitting on a fortune without even realizing it. And remember, it's not just about finding rare pennies. There are tons of other coins out there with hidden value, and the more you know, the better your chances of discovering something that could change your life. Now, if you're like me and want to learn more about coins that are worth money, or if you want to keep up with all the latest coin collecting tips and strategies, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I've got tons of content coming your way that could turn you into a coin collecting pro, and who knows, maybe you'll find the next big score. Until then, happy hunting, and good luck with your treasure hunts. Who knows? That penny you're about to toss might just be worth millions. Well, buckle up, because today we're diving into the world of rare pennies, and trust me, you'll never look at that shiny Lincoln cent the same way again. You're casually flipping through your change jar, and you come across a 2021 D Mint Mark penny. Sounds like a regular OL penny, right? Wrong. That little guy could be worth a jaw-dropping $2.9 million, and I'm about to tell you why. So, if you've ever thought a penny was just pocket change, prepare to have your mind blown and your wallet maybe, just maybe, getting a little fatter. A 2021 penny? How in the world could that be worth anything close to millions? It's barely even old enough to collect a social security check. Well, sit tight, because this isn't your average find a penny, pick it up scenario. This specific penny has something special going on. A mistake, a flaw, a rare minting error that has made it one of the most sought-after pennies in the world. And no, I'm not pulling your LEG'd eye in 2021. The Denver Mint accidentally struck a few Lincoln pennies with some rare characteristics that set them apart from the thousands of others in circulation. These minting errors are incredibly rare, and when they show up in auctions, collectors and coin enthusiasts are like moths to a flame. What makes these 2021 D pennies so special? Well, it's not just the fact that they have the famous Abraham Lincoln design or the D Mint mark that usually tells you they were made in Denver. No. This particular penny has an incredibly subtle but super important flaw, something that makes it a holy grail for collectors. We're talking about a die rotation error or a double die, terms that can make any serious coin collector's heart skip a beat. Now, I know you might not be a professional numismatist, that's fancy speak for coin expert, by the way, but I want you to think of it like this. Imagine finding an autographed baseball card from Babe Ruth, only this baseball card got messed up during printing and is one of a kind. That's essentially what this penny is. Only a small number of these error coins are in circulation, making them insanely valuable. We're talking up to $2.9 million in some cases. Can you even imagine finding that in your pocket change? So, how can you spot this little gem among the sea of other pennies? Here's the kicker. It's not that easy. You have to be on the lookout for some very specific characteristics. Keep an eye out for the die rotation error. This will make the image of Lincoln appear slightly tilted or off-center compared to a regular penny. Another key factor could be a slight doubling effect on the lettering, where you see the words E pluribus unum or liberty with a double outline. Let me tell you a quick story. A couple of years ago, I was digging through a box of old coins my grandma gave me. I remember feeling like a treasure hunter, finding pennies, nickels, and a few really worn-out dimes. I didn't think much of it until I found a 1960s penny with some weird markings. I was about to toss it in my maybe later pile, but I Googled it instead and discovered that I was holding a double-die penny. It wasn't worth millions, but it was worth a lot more than the 1 cent on its face. Moral of the story? Don't ever underestimate the value of a coin, especially one that looks a little off the so. What's the takeaway here? Well, the next time you're walking around and you see a penny on the ground, don't just walk past it. It could be the next big find that turns your wallet into a money-making machine. And I know, you might be sitting there wondering, how can I make sure I don't miss out on these rare finds? Simple. Keep looking. Keep searching through your change jar, your old piggy bank, and even your couch cushions. Who knows? You could be sitting on a literal gold mine. Now, if you want to learn more tips, tricks, and strategies for spotting coins that are worth way more than their face value, hit that subscribe button. You'll get weekly updates on rare coins, tips for your collection, and stories from people who found their own million-dollar pennies. Thanks for watching, and remember, next time you see a penny, don't just walk away. That penny might be worth way more than you think. All right, let me guess. You've got a pile of pennies in your drawer, or maybe just one sitting on your kitchen counter. And you're thinking, well, it's just a penny. What's the worst that could happen? Well, folks, today I'm about to drop a jaw-dropping bombshell on you. That one penny you might think is just a random, worthless coin could actually be worth, wait for it, $3 million. Yup, you heard me right, 3 million. Now, I know you're probably doing the mental math like, how is that even possible? Stick with me because I'm going to tell you the incredible story of the 1966 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny and why it's making waves in the coin world right now. Now, you might be wondering, is it just me? Or did I miss something? After all, the 1966 penny looks pretty normal, right? It's got Lincoln on the front, the date on the back. Seems like any other penny, doesn't it? Well, here's the kicker. If your 1966 penny doesn't have a mint mark, it's a game changer. Now, if you're scratching your head, thinking, wait a minute, doesn't every penny have a mint mark? You're not alone. I mean, that's what I thought too. But here's the catch. By 1965, the US Mint had actually stopped putting mint marks on coins made in Philadelphia. Most pennies from that year are minted in Denver or San Francisco, so they have a mint mark to show where they were made. But some 1966 pennies didn't have any mint mark. Why? Well, that's where the mystery begins. In 1965, there were all sorts of changes going on in the coin world. The US Mint was changing its procedures, and they didn't put the mint mark on the coins that came out of Philadelphia anymore. But in 1966, a few of those unmarked pennies slipped through the cracks and ended up in circulation. To most people, they seemed like regular old pennies. But to collectors? Well, those few unmarked pennies, those little guys became big deals. Now, here's where the real fun begins. These 1966 no mint mark pennies, because they are so rare, have become one of the most sought-after coins on the market. How rare are they? Well, no one knows exactly how many exist, but it's estimated that there's a very tiny handful of them left out there. And because of their scarcity, their value has skyrocketed. You may be wondering, okay, so how much is one of these pennies worth? Well, brace yourself. The value can reach up to $3 million. Yes, you heard me right. 3 million. And that's not some wild estimate. A coin like this recently sold for that jaw-dropping amount at auction. So if you've got one of these rare beauties lying around, you may want to start checking your drawers a little more carefully. And this isn't just some story about a random lucky person finding a 1966 penny. It's happened more than once. In fact, collectors have been scouring through boxes of pennies, looking for those rare, unmarked gems. And it's not always the most obvious find. Some people have literally found one of these pennies in the most unlikely places, like their old change jars or even stuck behind furniture. Talk about a treasure hunt. So, here's my personal story. One day, I was cleaning out my closet, and I found a tin can full of loose change. I was feeling all proud thinking, hey, I've got a few bucks in here. So, I started looking through the pennies. Of course, none of them had mint marks, but I thought, well, maybe this one's old enough to be worth a little more. Well, turns out, no luck. I wasn't holding the $1 million penny, but at least I didn't find anything too embarrassing like a 1974 penny with post-it stuck to it. But the point is, check your coins, people. Where's my lucky 1966 penny? Well, if you do find one, congratulations, you're looking at a potential $3 million payday. But even if you don't have one of those, don't lose hope. There are tons of other valuable coins out there, some of which you might already have in your collection and not even know it. That's why it's so important to always be on the lookout for these hidden gems. All right, coin enthusiasts, if you want more tips, tricks, and treasure hunts just like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a chance to find out how much your coins could be worth. Who knows, maybe your next lucky find will be the next big thing. What if I told you that a penny you might have just tossed in your pocket or dropped on the sidewalk could be worth a whopping $1 million? Yeah, I'm talking about the 2020 Abraham Lincoln penny. Now, before you stop me right there thinking, nah, that's just some internet clickbait, hold up, stick with me. I'll show you why this penny is one that could put you in the big leagues of coin collectors and make your wallet a lot heavier to so. If you're sitting there thinking your change jar is just a bunch of pennies from the year you graduated high school, think again. Today, we're diving deep into the 2020 penny, how to identify if yours is worth $1 million, and the truth behind this little coin that could change your financial future. Just make sure to hold on to your seats because things are about to get really interesting. What is this 2020 penny and why should we care? The 2020 penny is part of the regular issue U.S. pennies. The D stands for the Denver Mint, which produces a large chunk of the nation's coinage. Now, most of these 2020 pennies are just your average run-of-the-mill copper-coated zinc coins worth, well, 1 cent, but yes, there's always a but in the good stories. Some of these pennies were minted with a major error, and that error could make your penny worth a staggering $1 million. I know, mind-blowing, right? It was struck with the wrong die, causing it to have a double die obverse. In simple terms, this means that some of these pennies show two overlapping images of Abraham Lincoln's face. No joke, it's like Lincoln decided to give you two winks for the price of one. So how do you know if your penny is one of the lucky ones? Well, first things first, grab your magnifying glass or, heck, even your phone's camera and get a good look at Honest Abe's face. If you notice his features appear to be doubled, with that cool Lincoln eyebrow raised twice, or even his nose or hairline looking way too sharp, you've got yourself a potential jackpot. Okay, that sounds nice, but how do I tell the difference between a slightly blurry penny from my pocket and the real deal? Fair question. Look at the details, especially around the date and the lettering. The 2020 pennies that were affected by this error show significant doubling, which is very noticeable even to a casual observer. It's not just a little fuzzy print here and there. This doubling is big, bold, and, honestly, kind of in your face. And if you're thinking, I've got hundreds of pennies in a jar, surely one of them's a $1 million coin, let me give you a reality check. Not every 2020 penny is going to be worth a fortune. In fact, these error pennies are incredibly rare. You might need to sift through a bunch of change before finding one that's even worth a second look. But when you do find it, you're going to be sitting on a gold mine. Well, not gold, but you get the idea. Okay, let's talk about the value for a second, because this is the part where the math can get really fun. Depending on the condition of the coin, these error pennies can go for anywhere from a few $100 to that life-changing $1 million mark. How do you cash in on this? Well, once you've confirmed that you have an error penny, the next step is getting it graded by a reputable grading service. This will tell you exactly how rare and valuable your penny is. If it's in mint condition, it could fetch up to $1 million at auction. If it's not in perfect condition, don't worry. It could still be worth a significant amount depending on its rarity and demand. Not everyone who finds one of these coins immediately knows what they've got. Just like the time I found a rare baseball card in my attic and thought it was just some old piece of paper, until I Googled it and nearly fell out of my chair. Imagine holding that $1 million penny and not even realizing its worth until it's too late. This actually reminds me of my own experience with coins. I was going through a box of change from my grandparents and, in my head, thinking, well, these coins are just old stuff with no value. Until I found one with an unusual mint mark and decided to look it up. It turns out that coin was worth hundreds of dollars, and I nearly let it slip through my fingers. I was kicking myself for not knowing better, and that's why I'm here today. I want to make sure you don't miss out on an opportunity like I almost did. If you find a 2020 Abraham Lincoln penny that's doubled, check it out, get it graded, and hold on tight. You could be sitting on a literal gold mine, well, copper, but still. This whole coin collecting world isn't just about finding that one-in-a-million penny. It's about knowing what to look for and being aware of the coins that could actually be worth something. That's why I'm here, to give you the tips, tricks, and insider info on spotting these treasures in your everyday change. Before you go diving through your couch cushions, though, make sure you hit that subscribe button right here. Because, trust me, this is just the beginning. You're not going to want to miss the next tip on how to turn your spare change into a fortune. Stay tuned for more amazing tips and keep on hunting those pennies. You never know when your next big find could be waiting in your pocket. Well, what if I told you that one little penny, from 2009 no less, could be worth $2 million? Yep, you heard that right. $2 million. And no, it's not some crazy collector's fever dream. It's real, and in this video, I'm going to tell you all about the 2009 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, what makes it so special, and how it could just be hiding in your spare change jar. Stick with me, and you might just have a mint opportunity on your hands. All right, let's get into it. First off, let's set the stage. We all know pennies. The little copper coins we find in our pockets, at the bottom of the laundry basket, or just lying around the house. They don't seem like much, right? We've all seen them. We've all ignored them. Heck, I've even joked about giving them away for free on Facebook Marketplace. But here's the kicker. Not all pennies are created equal. Now, in 2009, the US Mint produced a whole bunch of pennies. But there's one little detail that has made some of these pennies worth more than a penny's worth: the absence of a mint mark. You see, normally, you'll find a tiny mint mark on your coin, like D for Denver or S for San Francisco. But for some reason, a small batch of 2009 Lincoln pennies were struck without a mint mark. And when that happened, it created a rare gem that collectors lost their minds over. How rare, you ask? Well, there are only a few known to exist. Less than 100, in fact. And that's where the real value lies. A typical 2009 penny isn't worth much, maybe 1 cent. But a 2009 penny with no mint mark? Well, it can fetch up to $2 million in the right market conditions, especially if it's in great condition. So, what makes this penny so valuable? It's the rarity, baby. In the world of coin collecting, rarity is everything. And because only a handful of these coins escaped the mint mark process, they're considered one of the most valuable pennies around. But here's the thing. You can't just look at any 2009 penny and expect it to be a jackpot. You've got to be looking for that exact anomaly, the missing mint mark. If you find one, you'll want to get it professionally graded to determine its value. The higher the grade, the higher the price. But let's get real for a second. Who here has found one of these rare pennies just lying around? I know I haven't. In fact, I had a similar experience where I thought I struck gold. Found a shiny penny in a parking lot, picked it up, and examined it. Thought it was the one, only to realize it was a 1998 penny. Yeah, I felt like a total goof. But hey, that's the life of a coin collector, right? That's why it's important to know what you're looking for. If you don't spot it, you might miss out on the big bucks. So keep your eyes peeled, folks. That penny could be hiding in plain sight. All right, let's wrap this up. So, the 2009 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny is rare, valuable, and just waiting to make someone a millionaire. If you're the lucky one who finds it, you could be rolling in cash. But as with any collectible, you've got to know your stuff and get it professionally graded to make sure you're not sitting on a pile of copper that's worth nothing. Now, I know this might sound like a lot of information to take in, but don't worry, I've got you covered. If you want more tips, tricks, and coin collecting strategies that'll help you spot that next big find, hit that subscribe button and join the coin community. I'll keep you in the loop on all things worth money, and who knows, maybe you'll find that $2 million penny hiding in your spare change. Stow. Next time you pick up a penny, give it a closer look. You never know when you might stumble upon a fortune. And remember, don't just toss those pennies aside. They might just be your ticket to the big time.